Hey Critical Analysis, this is your very last assignment video. This is your assignment video for Chapter 10. It's going to include your discussion post for this week. It's going to include your Chapter 6 through 10 vocabulary tests and of course your mastery skills, your end of course review packet, and just kind of wrapping up everything that's due before our semester ends on Sunday, July 31st. So let's hop in. So we are in obviously week 8. I'm going to go to the Submit folder. So first thing is your discussion board. So last time for attendance points, this is due on Wednesday for week 8 attendance. You are going to respond to what is something that was helpful in this class throughout the semester. So was there specific like reading tip, vocabulary word, maybe just the structure of a folder or a discussion post, anything like that. Anything that was helpful throughout the class that maybe will benefit you moving forward in future classes. And then what's a piece of advice you would give to a future critical analysis student? Now keep in mind also that you guys are kind of a unique subset because this is not typically a class that is taught both online and in 8 weeks. That's usually not the format of this class. It is usually either online in 16 weeks or it's face-to-face in 8 weeks. So it's a very unique situation that you all just went through. So just keeping that in mind, like, is there a piece of advice that you would give a future critical analysis student? Would you tell them, make sure you get your mastery skills done? Would you say, like, just make sure you pay attention to directions on the vocabulary quizzes or whatever that might be? Okay, so that's your week 8 discussion board. So you want to make sure, again, you post that by Wednesday for your week 8, your final attendance check. Speaking of our discussion boards, you had at the beginning of the semester, and I've tried to mention it a few times throughout, you needed to interact with 10 classmates throughout the course of the semester to get your participation points. And a lot of you have already done that, or you are close to finishing that up. I do keep track throughout the semester whenever I am checking attendance posts and things like that, or if I'm interacting with you, I do mark off how many times you've interacted. And if you just respond like 1 or 2 words, I don't count that. But if you are like, going off of a sentence or asking an additional question, that's what I count. So please make sure, because there are a few of you who haven't interacted at all. So you want to make sure that obviously this is your last chance. So you might be doing a lot of interacting this week. So you want to just go in there and, respond to something that a classmate has posted, ask a follow-up question, agree with them, build off it, whatever you need to do to get those participation points. Those will be entered if I haven't already entered them. If you've already met that, 10 interactions, I've already entered it. If you haven't met it, I will enter those at the end of our week 8 semester. All right, so let's move on. So in Chapter 10, you have your Chapter 10 text and skill sheet. So if you have that opened up, here it is. So if you've already listened to the Chapter 10 lecture video, a lot of this is already actually covered. So you may want to go back and watch that video or pull up the PowerPoint or just get into the text, because it really does just kind of like go right down through this text and skill sheet here. So I'm going to go ahead and just talk to you about these parts real quickly. So this is kind of talking about just the concepts, the vocabulary, if you will, of a lot of the Chapter 10 ideas. And so it has page numbers to help guide your conversation, but let's go ahead and take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and get into our beginning of Chapter 10. And it wants you to kind of define thinking, analytical thinking, and critical thinking. Looking at our text and skill sheet here, here's this whole section about thinking. Here's analytical thinking, and then you'll scroll down just a little bit more to get to critical thinking. Now, obviously, those are very lengthy descriptions. You're not going to fit them all right here. So you kind of want to boil it down, put it in your own words. But that's where you're going to get those terms from. All right, from there, it says the author gives 4 habits of effective critical thinking. It even gives you the page number. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down. And I'm just going to click on what is critical thinking to help me. And then I'll just kind of, make sure I read through that section. And here are my tips right here. 4 tips of effective critical thinkers. So it says list and give a brief description. So listing, then give a brief description. So don't just list. All right, and then the next part C, it says, what are the different barriers of critical thinking? So we just scroll down a little bit more, and here are our barriers. So those are the barriers to effective critical thinking. All right, then, so I think that's pretty straightforward. On the back, or I guess on the bottom for you guys with the screen in front of you. We have exercise. This is actually exercise 10.6, I believe, identifying fallacies. So if you've already watched the vocabulary video, I talked about fallacies in the vocabulary video, but it points you to page 531. So you can come down here on our table of contents here, exercise 10.6, identifying fallacies. And to get there, to help you, you can just scroll up, and here's a whole list of different types of fallacies. I mean, there's a lot, I understand that. So like ad hominem, misleading analogy, transfer, misinterpreted stat, appeal to emotion. So all of those, all the way down to slippery slip, are all types of fallacies. And so you're gonna go ahead and read each statement, and you're not doing every single one, although just about 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. So you're gonna read each of those statements and then look to see, is this one of the options? So again, you can kind of like scroll up and down as needed to double check, and it's multiple choice. You just fill in right here, and that is your text and skill sheet for chapter 10. So as always, you'll go back in here and you will drop it in your Dropbox. All right, from there is your chapter 10 vocabulary quiz, last vocabulary quiz. Hopefully that is exciting as well. So hopefully at this point we are familiar and comfortable, but underline word, keep it the same, correct the rest of the sentence. Adding the word not does not necessarily correct your sentence. So make sure that you are making those adjustments and fix the sentence. All right, part B, short answer. Make sure you just answer the question. This one says 2 things. And then part C, fill in the blank. All right, that is your chapter 10 vocabulary quiz. I'm going to close that out. Now we have our course review packet. This is going to open up as a PDF. So we're going to click on that, and you can see it's going to right here. So because we don't meet face-to-face, there's not a final project, which is normally what we do in this class, you're going to have just a quick review packet. So you can see it's 6 pages. It's going to be like a selection, and then based on that selection is going to be 10 questions. And so you can see as you go through, it's going to be questions that we've talked about like all semester long. Topic, main idea, pattern organization, opinion, purpose. It's going to have similar questions down here. Vocabulary, you know, identifying the meaning of a word, graphics, cause and effect. So again, it's everything that the text has already talked about. So your job is to just go through and practice those. Because it's a PDF and you can't interact with it, you can always just go in to the course review packet Dropbox and do write submission and type your answers here. Or if you want to get a piece of paper out and write down the answers and upload like a picture of your paper, if you want to get a Microsoft Word document up and type your answers there. If you have an editable PDF that you're able to do, you can always just mark on that. I know not everyone has that. So how you do that is totally up to you. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're working through that. It's going to be a little flexible as to how you submit these answers. Okay, so if you need to just write them out and then upload a picture of your writing, or however whatever works best for you, you can be okay with that. All right, then we have our critical thinking. We have 2 mastery skills, critical thinking and combined skills. These are your very last ones. You're going to, as you have for hopefully the last 8, click in there, take a post-test, take the second post-test if you need to, and then make sure that you get, a decent score. Remember, you have to have all 10 mastery skills done. So I'm going to go into lessons, and I'm going to remind you real quickly that you have to have all 10 of these done to be able to pass the class with an 80% or higher average. Okay? So all 10 done to be able to pass the class with an 80% average. Some of you only have like 1 or 2 done, and we're just about in week 8. Okay, so please make sure you go in. I tried to send reminders periodically. so that you can know like, hey, you need to get caught up on these. Obviously, these are still hidden right now, but they'll be opening up soon, so that you can make sure that you're not waiting to the last minute. But if you don't have these 10 done, mathematically, there's no way to pass the class. So please make sure you get back in there and get caught up with those. All right, and then the last thing that you are doing for this week is your chapter 6 through 10 vocabulary test. This is going to look just like your chapter 1 through 5, so no surprises there, same format. Hopefully you've already watched the chapter 6 through 10 vocabulary test. So we have part A is short answer. So number 1 is not done for you, it's just started. So please make sure you answer the question. Pay attention to additional follow-up questions like why, 2 examples, 2 anecdotes, 2 things. So just pay attention to those type of things. So short answer. Part B is the correct or incorrect. Tells you right here, only 2 of them are correct as written. So only twice should you have the word correct. The rest you need to fix somehow. Leave the underlined word the same, but then fix it. Change some words, add, take away. Don't just add the word not. And then fill in the blank, part C, okay? And then make sure you submit that. So all of your assignments other than your post are due Sunday, July 31st. That is when the class will wrap up. I will have grades done as soon as possible. Actually, I'm probably gonna open up week 8 a little early so that you can get a jump start if you would like. So hope you all have a great last week of the semester. Let me know if you have any questions on any of these assignments. Bye.